The granddaddy of all board game conventions, GenCon, is only a couple of weeks away, and it's such a big deal that I couldn't handle this myself, so I had to bring in Jerry from Tabletop Worldwide to share with you our top 10 games we're most excited about at GenCon 2025.
All that I got will never stop. I give it all. Straight to the top, will never stop. I give it all. All that I have, I let it be. Cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Good gaming champions, and welcome to a very grand and GenCon focused video today. And as I said in the intro, this one is such a big deal that I couldn't do it myself. I had to bring in the big guns, and I didn't go to anybody on YouTube. I reached across and plucked one out from our good friend Jerry at Tabletop Worldwide over on Instagram to come to you live today to talk about what our top 10 most exciting games for GenCon 2025 are. Jerry, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everybody, and excited to talk about our games.
Yeah, so if you don't know or you don't follow, make sure right now you go over to Instagram. That's where you will find Tabletop Worldwide. This is one of the nicest guys you will see out there, except for the time that he knocked me over with his board game bag at Origins and caused some slight rotator cuff issues in my left arm.
I mean, you know, maybe next night you'll watch.
But if you're looking for somebody willing to dress up as a gnome, Jerry here is your guy. So
I know a guy. The guy's me. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, Jerry and I have had a chance to get to know each other a little bit. We had a chance to meet a couple years ago at the media event at Origins. And Jerry, why don't you kind of tell our audience a little bit about who you are and your background?
Sure. So I am Jerry, as he was saying. I run Tabletop Worldwide over on Instagram. That is, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug here, at tabletop_worldwide. That's how you find me over there. I do a lot of reviews. I do a lot of reels. I do some comedy stuff. Just basically all kinds of board game related content. And Gen Con, of course, being the largest event for the United States. Super excited to get over there and see the games there, and super excited to be a part of this video talking about it.
Absolutely. And like I said, one of the nicest guys you'll meet. That's why I was excited to be able to get him on the show today. And we'll have a chance to see each other again at Gen Con. And maybe we can make some good comedy videos together, Jerry.
I like that. I like that. You should throw in the little clip video of me knocking you over with the bag there. That was pretty fun. That was a good time. That was a good.
Yeah, I actually I did hurt my shoulder.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah. It's all right though. It was for you. I would do it for you. But like I said,
life. That's
yeah,
nice.
short-term disability here, Jerry. You got that insurance coverage for me, bud?
Hey, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. I don't. My battery's dying. That's what.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes here. We actually filmed this once already, and somebody's phone died partway through the video. So this is round two. Just in case you cared. So, but with that said, we talked about this. Gen Con is, the biggest event for board games in the United States, obviously the second biggest in the world behind Essen Spiel. But one of the things that I've always found fascinating, I didn't know this, Jerry, but, Gen Con was actually started in Geneva. That's where Gen Con comes from, is Geneva. And as many people might know this one, it was, of course, the birth of D&D. That's where it was first played at, was Gary Gygax's house at the Horticulture Hall. So I thought that was pretty fascinating to think of, like, where this event is today versus where it was.
Right.
Lock and step, direct parallel with D&D.
Got a very rich history that goes back a long way. Yeah, it's great.
And of course, one of the things Jerry asked me is, he was like, this is the biggest thing for indie, right? And I was like, Indy 500. But besides that, but the Indy 500 is pretty big. But
I guess that's important to Indy. I ain't in it. We're not.
But yeah, there's this event actually raises over $80 million of revenue for the city. Of course, last year was a record of over 74,000 people. Sounds like this year might be as big, if not bigger. 24,000 events are run at this convention. Every hotel downtown is sold out. Restaurants have record numbers. There's over 50,000 square feet. And if you see one of Jerry's videos from last year, literally he just stood back and filmed, the whole cattle rush of people just pouring in.
Affectionately called the running of the nerds. The first day that Gen Con opens up, they have, there's the hallway is just literally sardines of people, all trying to rush into these three small doors at the same time. And apparently it's entertaining, get a lot of views, but it's a good time and there's a lot of people, that's for sure.
Yeah. And on average, they estimate about 500 new games are either previewed or launched at Gen Con. So that's why you're seeing so many views in your feed, right? Our videos right now in your feed talking about Gen Con this, top 10 this, top 10 this. And how could we be the champions of tabletop and tabletop worldwide if we don't also have our top 10? So that's what we're here tonight to do. And so you and I are going. For those who watch Champions Tabletop, Dion and Shay will not be going. So that's why they excused themselves from this video because they were too heartbroken. They didn't get to go. But Jerry, I'm excited to hear your list. So let's go ahead and get started with this. We beat around the bush long enough. So we're going to go ahead and get to Jerry's number 10 coming up here.
Hey everybody. So my top 10, I'm gonna say it's in no particular order. We're gonna rank them 10 to 1, but honestly, any of these could kind of take the place of any other ones. But we're gonna start off with a game called Ice and Idols. And this is from Inside Up Games. They are probably best known for Earth. Probably a lot of you have seen or played that one. It's an excellent game. This game features a lot of shifting passageways. There's pickup and delivery. There's a lot of different fun mechanics that go along with the game. And it's bright. It looks great on the table. I'm just excited to check it out. You know, uh, Fully being upfront, I have not played a lot of these games because they are launching at Gen Con. So we're going to find out more about them there. But this one is definitely one that caught my eye. And so that's why it's at number 10.
I haven't seen this one, Jerry, at any of the conventions. I've been to Gamma, I've been to Origins this year, and I have not seen this yet.
Yeah, it looks really interesting, and I like the fact that it's constantly shifting, and so you got to stay on your toes. And they are also have a new game called Perch from the same company. Just kind of an honorable mention that I want to throw in. So, if you get a chance to go by the Inside Up booth, there's going to be a lot of really cool things to look at there.
Yeah, I mean the table presence of this looks really good.
It does. It does. It's very eye catching. It's one of those games that I like to think of if you happen to be playing it out at a coffee shop or something, people are going to stop and go, "Hey, what's that?"
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it looks really fun.
All right, Jerry, that was a strong start. And I'm gonna go with my number 10 is, and again, I will follow you as the guest. I will not put them in a specific order either, so that way you don't feel bad about it. Uh, but my number 10 is gonna be by KTBG, and it's gonna be Layers. This one has been at a few of the conventions, so this one is not necessarily a completely new game, but this is more of a two-person dungeon battler. Effectively, you're going to be trying to get your pieces, I believe, out of the dungeon while trying to create catacombs and traps and things like that to try to affect and impede your opponent's abilities for them to move their people throughout the dungeons. And these smaller box games, I have historically not really liked a lot, Jerry. But I've really kind of grown to appreciate them a lot more, especially having a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old who I'm trying desperately to coerce into the hobby space, whether they want to or not. Pardon the interruption there. It's a lab who's 1-year-old who wants to play dog park, but not yet, Hazel. So this game, like I said, is just one of those type of games that I can easily pull out, and I stand a much better shot of getting my 12-year-old to hop into something like this versus like a Elder Scrolls by Chip Theory, where I say, "Okay, buddy, Here's just short of a Bible. Go ahead and read this over the next month and a half, create a dissertation, and then we'll go
Right.
ahead and try to play it.
Right.
These are get them on the table, with ADD generation. Here's the rules. Let's play. And have you played this one yet?
I have not. I have seen this at Origins, and actually, I saw a prototype of this at GenCon last year. I think it was still under development then. Looks like it has a similar, shifting passageways component to the last game that we talked about. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Mythic Mischief from Ivy Studios. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Yes, I have all.
Kind of gives me a little bit of that vibe. But yeah, this one looks really interesting.
Absolutely. So there you go. Two passage adjusters. I don't know the technical term, but I'm going to go with passage adjusters. We got a theme going here. All right. First ones. I love it. So let's go on to number 9, Jerry.
Okay, so number 9 for me is Vegas Strip. This is from All Play Games. Speaking of publishers that do a lot of small box games, sometimes good things come in small packages, right? So Vegas Strip.
My belly, you wouldn't say that, Jerry. Do visit a package.
Uh, Vegas Strip is it's a bluffing and kind of hidden information game. Sorry, the designer is Peter Hayward. The artist is Vincent Dutray, which I never know if I'm saying people's names right. So, feel free to not comment. I know that I may be screwing that up, but it's a beautiful game and people love Vincent Dutray's art. And so it is all over, his fingerprints are all over this one. So like I said, it's a bluffing, it's hidden information. You're trying to figure out which casinos are corrupt and maybe
It's
not.
easy.
Yeah,
All.
all of them. What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. I may not be the best bluffer. I don't know. But again, it's a bright game. It looks good on the table, and I kind of like games sometimes where there's some hidden information, and I can maybe fool you into doing something I want you to do that you may not work out so well for you, but hey, it works out good for me, so that's okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We were talking to, I forget what company it was, and we were just talking about the big shift. Because one of the things you'll notice, for those of you who didn't go to Origins or other conventions, is
I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah.
it's all cards, small box. And one of the companies flat out said, this is like the age of all play right now. Because everybody kind of consolidated quality, consolidated box size, components, just for fear of what the tariffs were going to long term look like. And they had to adopt very quickly. And you're just going to see a lot of these small box type of games. So, like I said,
You are.
this fits right into all play strategy. So, if we don't know, all play may have had something to do with all these tariffs too, just to help them think that we don't know.
That's funny. That's funny. So that's my number 9. So what's yours?
All right, so my number 9 is going to be from Zier Games, and this is going to be the Game Makers. And if anybody watched our Origins wrap up, they definitely saw this on that video. But I know they're going to get a lot more hands-on with this game at Gen Con. I know they were kind of sandbagging some stuff to hold out because they really want to expose this. And I was told we would actually get a behind-the-scenes opportunity to play it a little bit versus just kind of see it. But for those of you wondering, it's a worker placement. It is essentially just a game about making board games. And what I actually love about this is you can kind of see the board here in front of you. You're going to do things like create the components, which means you've got to cut trees down. You've got to make the paper. You've got to create the art. You have to create the game design and the mechanics. And effectively, what you're actually doing is making real board games. I think they had told me, Jerry, that they had sent out over like 3 or 4,000 emails trying to get permission to display real games because the tiebreaker component in this game, if you get to the end of the game, you're tied with somebody, the person who wins is the person who has the game that has the highest Board Game Geek rating on it. Because you're going to make Brass Birmingham, you're going to make Wingspan, you're going to make Twilight Imperium and Rococo and King of Tokyo, all of these games that you know are actually in this game in these cards, and they're the games you're actually going to go through and try to make. And then, of course, what board game would be complete if you didn't put the games in these calyxes sitting in front of you? Because, of course, we in this hobby space know no other form of shelving other than calyxes, even though I'm desperately trying to figure out a better way to store mine right now. Yeah, look at that guy. Yeah, I've got mine over there, and I'm desperately trying to find a new way to store my games. But yeah, so this game, like I said, at Origins, I would say, Jerry, and I know you said you actually didn't see this one, but everybody I saw was always swarming it, rave reviews, a lot of hype on this game.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting to me, and this game looks really really good and looks very interesting. What strikes me as interesting also is it seems like every time there's a new kind of a new idea in board gaming, which doesn't come out that often. There's new games all the time, but you know they're all sharing basically the same 8 to 10 mechanics in a different way in a different theme, and and this seems like a really unique idea. And there's actually another game coming out that has a very similar theme, which it seems to happen a lot. Like there was a game recently about I can't remember the scientific term, but basically the study of insects. And another game came out within like 2 months, which means they had to have been going through the design phase at the exact same time. It's just kind of crazy how similar themes like that all come out together. This looks really really good though, so I definitely am going to have to go by and take a harder look at this one.
Remember who told you about it?
Okay, so my number 8 is a game called Citizens of the Spark, and this is from Thunderworks Games, who are by far one of my favorite publishers. Just because back from the beginning when I first started becoming a content creator, they took a chance on me and worked with me on some of their earlier stuff. I got to do a prototype of Stone Spine Architects, for instance, and some other stuff that they did. But Citizens of the Spark is a deck builder, which is one of my two favorite mechanics, deck builders and worker placements, which is a big mechanic of the game you just featured. But this is a deck builder where, if you're familiar with the game Dominion, this has some hints and flavors of Dominion in it. And what I mean by that is you are selecting cards from the box that are going to appear in the game. You're going to pick 9 of them. Well, I guess the number depends on your player count, but you're going to be so that's what I'm looking at right there is you're going to be picking certain cards out to use in each game, and depending on which cards or citizens that you choose, depends on the type of game you get. Some of them are gonna be more take that, some of them are gonna be more economically focused, some of them are gonna be more like politically or kind of war strategy focused. So you can pick the type of deck builder you have based on the citizens that you choose from the box. And the instruction book kind of gives you a different flavors. If you want more of a war game, choose these citizens. If you want, more of a political game, choose these citizens. So you can get a different game each time you play, just like with the Dominion deck builder that I mentioned before. The thing that makes this one stand out to me, though, is that instead of just building a deck that you're drawing certain cards from and you never know which cards are going to come out when, etc., in this game, the cards are laid down in front of you. And so you can use, I like to say, imagine if in Dominion you could use any card in your deck at any time. So with this game, you can. So you're building that up. You are able to use any card in your deck at any time. But when you use a card, you're basically spending it. So when you use a card to do something, you have to then discard that card so it's no longer in your deck. So, it's got a really unique kind of building mechanic, a lot of different games in one, in that it can be, whatever flavor that you want from it. And I will say this as a little plug for them, just because I love Thunderworks. If you get the game at GenCon, they are going to throw in a free mini expansion, which adds 3 more citizens or 30 more cards to your game when you get it. So just an extra little, incentive to run by and check this one out. It was successfully funded on Kickstarter, and they will have the retail copies available at GenCon. Definitely worth your time, and I would definitely check it out.
Well, and look, I mean, she's obviously having a ton of fun, right?
As one does when playing this game.
Yeah, just like him right there. He's like, yeah. I would say, looking at the different citizens there, I saw earlier, I'm gonna give you Poet. I think that's the one you should play, Jerry.
The poet is deceptively good in this game. So,
Is it?
don't judge a citizen by its name.
Well, that's what I'm going for, and I'm gonna give myself Tyrant. So
There you go.
we'll see how that plays out. That's a good one, and shout out to Jess over at Thunderworks too.
She's
She is a
fantastic.
absolute spark plug for the industry. And if you get a chance, if you stop by Thunderworks and you see Jess working their booth, make sure you say that Jerry and Matt, said to tell you hi, and maybe she'll give you some free stuff.
I don't know if she'll do that, but I'll tell you what, just talking to her is a treat in and of itself. I hope Thunderworks knows what they have because she's one of the nicest and most helpful person in the entire industry. So yeah, shout out to Jess for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Jerry, my number 8. Have you ever wanted to just spend 3 to 4 hours saying phrases like, "Hey, come on down to the soiree, see?" Or things like, "Hey, dame, why don't you bring me another drink?"
So are you saying you don't do this already? I mean, what's up?
Well, maybe I was in some of your videos. I might have to here. If you've ever wanted to spend your whole time annoying people with things like that, we're gonna go on down to the Charleston, yeah? Well, this game is for you, and that is going to be Speakeasy. I would be in trouble by Dion if I did not give this the obligatory uh, presentation, because for those of you who watch Champions of Tabletop, you know that there is nobody on earth that Dion loves more than Vital Lacerda. He would maybe give a child for the opportunity just to shake his hand. And then, of course, we followers of our channel know Ian O'Toole is Dion's absolute favorite. I'm trying to see if there's ever a point I could get them in the same room because Dion would die. But Eagle Griffin Games obviously makes this game, and this is your chance to step into the role of a 1920s mob boss in just, I mean, Lacerda. I don't know what more else to tell you. I feel like that in and of itself tells
The
you.
name speaks for itself. Yeah, absolutely.
You hear Lacerda, and a couple things come into mind. Production quality is going to be amazing. Graphics and art are going to be stunning.
And super light.
You're going to spend 5 hours playing this game. You are going to have to train and stretch your back out to not throw it out when you lift the box up. Like, we know this with Lacerda games, and they've got games like Rococo and Kanban, which is one that I personally like. I think a lot of these fall into just the themes of what you look for. We've played some of their smaller, like, light versions of their games, like Bot Factory was one we did a video on. I really enjoyed the lighter versions of some of these Lacerda games because they're less intimidating to get into. But this one, just thematically, I think we did games we're most excited for 2025 video in January, and this was on our list because, again, obviously Dion, but being a mob boss is super fascinating. The Prohibition era is fascinating. And I think when you look at the components of this, the structure, you're trying to, again, run gin and liquor and all these wonderful things underground, trying to deliver them, trying to gain reputation, gain control. And again, just become the biggest, baddest mob boss that anybody had ever seen. So this game for me, Jerry, an easy one to put on there, and I would love to be able to come back from Gen Con and show Dion that I got to play it and he hasn't played it yet.
I mean, it's Lacerda. But that's really like you were saying. You can almost just stop there. But worker placement games in general. I mean, that's my favorite mechanic to start with, and then something crunchy like Lacerda is mid to heavyweight Euros are kind of my thing anyway. I don't actually don't have a lot of those on my list, surprisingly, but a game like this, yeah, I mean, sign me up.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see how much time we actually can get
In that
hands on.
truck, if you win the game, that was cool. What did you just pass?
Yeah,
by?
they're giving that for free. I'll make sure Eagle Griffin is handing that out.
There you go.
I have no poll over there, but we're about to make it.
Right. I like it.
So
I like it.
that's my number 8.
Okay, so for my number 7, I am going to feature a trick-taking game. Trick-taking is another really fun mechanic that I have played a lot more of, recently over the years with, interestingly enough, a mechanic that I didn't think would be possible in trick-taking, and that's co-op play. So, games like The Crew and other things like that have really kind of rekindled my love of trick-takers. As an aside, I want to mention that one of my favorite trick takers from Grandpa Beck, which is called Skull King, has an expansion that will be debuting at Gen Con. So another kind of honorable mention, real quick, and definitely worth checking that out as well. But
You were
this is
saying
no
Grandpa
loose.
Beck, for people who don't know, Grandpa Beck made games like our personal favorite is Cover Your Assets,
Mhm.
but he puts his actual cell phone on the box of the game.
That's right.
So it's like if you got a problem with Grandpa Beck, well, guess what? There's a direct line to Grandpa Beck.
Anything I really, I realize we're kind of getting a little bit off track here, but another thing I really love about Grandpa Beck's games is every single one of them has a recipe from Grandma Beck or a dish that you can make and then eat and enjoy while you're playing the game. And they're all kind of thematic to the games, that they're in. So, you get a great game, you're building your own recipe book at the same time. You got a direct line to the manufacturer. I mean, what what can you say bad about any of
Not
that?
customer service, Jerry.
Right? Right? So, yeah, so go check out the expansion to Skull King as well. But anyway, so this is No Loose Ends. And, at Origins, I met a designer by the name of Paul Solomon. Now, do you know what Paul Solomon is famous for? It's
Uh,
okay if you don't. It's okay
I
if you
do not know. I
Okay.
can look
So
it up, but I don't know.
so he designed games like Honey Buzz, he designed, Genotype, he designed Stamp Swap, for Stonemaier. He is a fantastic designer, but now he is also, heading up a new publisher called Gamehead. And Gamehead has 6, kind of smaller box games that are all debuting at the same time. One of them is called No Loose Ends and is this trick-taking game. And what makes this unique is that in addition to bidding, obviously for how many tricks you think you're going to be able to take, there are cards down on the table that are quote unquote evidence. And in order to not get caught, in order to cover up the evidence that you were able to pull off this heist, you not only have to win tricks, but you have to win tricks of the exact either number or suit or whatever is in the evidence stack. So you've got to, make sure that you cover all your bids, but then you also have to make sure that when you're covering those bids, you're winning specific cards to cover up the evidence of the heist that you pulled off. So it's a neat little extra mechanic to a trick taking game that looks pretty good. So I'm excited about that one. There's a couple of other ones from Gamehead, like Trinket Trove, and a couple of others that'll just make kind of going by and seeing everything they have worth your time. No Loose Ends, though, is going to be my entry for a trick taking game in this list, and looks pretty good.
Do they give recipes though?
They do not. So we'll have to talk to them about that. And I also don't think there's a direct line to Paul's office on the games either. So
Areas of opportunity, Paul. Areas of opportunity. All right, Jerry, my number 7 is going to be one that has been highlighted on this channel already. Actually, I know for a fact you have played this because we unfortunately didn't initially get invited to the Asmodee event at Origins. I was heartbroken by that. And then you're like, yeah, just go show up. And they let me in. So they let any riffraff in. But in that media event, we played some amazing games. One of the other ones is going to be on this list a little bit higher. But this one, my number 7, is going to be Fate of the Fellowship, Lord of the Rings. This is the pandemic style board game coming to us from Z-Man Games, who have obviously had a ton of successful games. All I can say to start this off, if you've seen our other videos, is first of all, the Dice Tower. Oh my God. Right?
right.
The
I
Dice Tower is utterly, oh my God.
Yeah.
It is stunning. It is gorgeous. It is, I'm gonna try to find a
There it
picture.
is.
Yeah. I mean, look at this
Yep.
thing.
Tower of Sauron, right? It's yeah.
Yeah, it works Like, that's the other part. It works. And most importantly, because anybody who plays Everdell will say one of the biggest annoyances of the tree is the fact that it doesn't fit in the box.
Yeah.
And that stinks, right? Because nobody wants to take something down, put it away, take it back, have them mush back together. This goes in the box exactly as you see it on the screen in front of you right now. And it is tall. It's at least over a foot tall, I think. So it has table presence. But the overall game, you can try the game right now if you want to play it on Board Game Arena. They have a digital version to give you a chance to get your hands on. But I really liked this because I'm not, to be frank with you, Jerry, a big fan of Pandemic in general. I was afraid, Dion and I both echoed this. We were afraid it was going to feel very pandemic-y. It doesn't at all. And for some people, that might be bad. For me, it's good. The other thing that I thought was stunning with this were the Nazguls, which are the black dragon riders. Those miniatures were absolutely fantastic, and because everything else were meeples and tiny meeples on the board, their presence on the board was absolutely.
Sorry about that.
I was like, "What happened to you?" We gotta. People don't know this. Apparently, we're having a earthquake down in Georgia. Just knocked it all over the place. Or as the Nazgul's flying above. I don't know. But what I love about this game is, like I said, the table presence is staggering. Jerry's staggering over there. He can't even keep it together. He's so excited that.
Man, I don't know what is going on with my gimbal. I apologize. Let me see if I can get through these technical difficulties. But please keep talking. I saw my video for a second.
I feel like this is actually the highlight of the video for me now. Is it's getting late. Jerry's getting a little loopy. I don't know what's going on over there. But let me see. Yeah, Hannah's doing on his side of the screen. But no, like I said, this game overall, and I'll put the B-roll that we have from Origins over this so you can see it better. But I just want to say, if you do like Pandemic, you're going to love this. If you don't like Pandemic, I think you're going to love this. And if you just love Lord of the Rings, you're absolutely going to love this. I love the co-op nature of this. That's what I want to highlight. Unlike a lot of the Pandemic games, this one is really built around working together with the people at the table. You have two characters. Everybody else will have two characters. There is synergy between those characters. They're going to help you move the ring through, and its path to Mordor to obviously drop the ring into Mount Doom. But along the path, you have to work together with each of your unique skill sets and use those skills to try to accomplish that goal. That, of course, just like any Pandemic-style game, everything is built against you in every way possible to succeed. You are going to lose more than you win. That is how the game is built. But we were definitely at Origins on our path to winning before our time ran out. I will say that undoubtedly we would have won. Nobody can prove that wrong, and I'm going with it. So with that said, my number 7, if you get a chance, play this game. It's an absolute must play.
Yeah, you're right. It looks fantastic on the table too, right? So people are going to notice it immediately. So it was we walked into the room and there were so many great offerings from Asmodee there, but this one just immediately had everybody just kind of wandering over to the table. What is this? This looks amazing. So and I'll say, good on it for being challenging. It makes the winning that much more satisfying when you do succeed. And games will get kind of boring if they're too easy to start with, right? So got to build up to that. But yeah, this one looks phenomenal.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why, Jerry, it's my number 7.
Okay, so my number 6 is called Raising Chicago. And the theme of this game is, and I don't know if everybody knows about this, but way back in the early days of the city of Chicago, there used to be a ton of flooding that would happen to a lot of the buildings. And so they had to actually literally develop a plan to either move the buildings or raise them and build something that would be a little bit more sturdy. So a lot of the old wooden buildings were getting flooded, rotted out, and shut down. So this game kind of takes that theme and has you, the player, as one of competing companies trying to raise the resources and finances to take on these projects in order to successfully raise these buildings, avoid the floodwaters, and of course, make a little money on the side and victory points, because who doesn't love a good victory point? This is the weight of this one is more in my wheelhouse. I kind of was noticing that I had a lot of lighter games in my top 10. I think it's just because there's a lot of more lighter games in general lately, but this one is
Were you getting
more.
insecure, Jerry, that I was calling you out and you weren't looking like a deep enough hardcore gamer? Is that what it was?
No, actually, I wasn't even thinking about it until you mentioned it, and then I went, "Wow, what am I doing? This isn't." But the weight of this one is more in line with what I love. So, yeah. So this is another a good medium weight Euro style game that I'm really looking forward to. And I don't have a lot of other details on the game besides that one, but it immediately drew my attention just based on the theme and the weight of the game, and that this would be something that would draw my attention anyway. So, Raising Chicago, it is by, let's see, Spielworks is the publisher. So, to get a chance to check that one out, you got to find me there checking it out with
It
you.
out too, right?
Sorry.
I think Capstone is doing the distributing.
Capstone's doing,
Right?
yeah. You're right.
I say I've noticed a couple Capstone games on your list here today.
I like Capstone. Capstone makes a lot of nice medium weight Euro games. In fact, if you'll allow me a slight, once again, deviation off, I've been playing this game, Galileo Galilei. Have you tried this?
So I'm really good at buying games, Jerry. Playing them, I'll get to them.
I will tell you this, Galileo Galilei, I thought that my runaway game of the year for 2025 was going to be Galactic Cruise. I really like it. It's a worker placement. It's big. It's crunchy. There's a lot of stuff going on. But then I played Galileo Galilei, and I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna give it a run for its money for 2025 game of the year, in my opinion. This game is absolutely fantastic. But so Capstone, yeah, they're going to have a bunch of really good stuff. And I have another game on my list coming up a little later that is also going to be from Capstone being featured at Gen Con. So Capstone's going to be a booth that's definitely worth spending some time at.
Well, Jerry, you had listed the town of utter mobsters and corruption in Chicago, and there's only one way to deal with corruption, and that's with heroes.
What a transition. What a
Better
transition.
way to inject heroes into this than to bring up the new game by Scorpion Musk called Tag Team. So this is going to be my number 6. This game, I did not get a chance to really go hands-on with this at Origins, but I know Jason at Hatchet and Nicole at Hatchet were really excited to talk heavily about it. This
They are
game
super
falls
excited about it.
perfectly in line with the new era of small box card games. In fact, I almost think that this was a immediate response to this new world that we're in with these smaller box games. It's going to be a very simple game. It's a 1v1. You're going to play hero cards. Your heroes are going to have asymmetric abilities. They're going to have their own unique skill sets. They're going to try to do their own things. And you're effectively, I mean, this is going to be a battler. So you're trying to take the other hero out. There's going to be a lot of unique abilities, a lot of things that make each hero very different. They were telling us about this one necromancer character who, if she gets killed and gets overkilled. So let's say she had 2 health left. My guy, she has 2 health left for me, and then you attack and hit her for 5. Well, if she gets overkilled, she actually comes back to life. So you can't overkill her. You have to kill her by the right amount when you're trying to kill her. So, or I don't know if kill is the right word. I don't know that that's what, they're selling for this. Or fatigue them or make them go to sleep. I don't know how they're marketing this. It's very kid-like, so this could be a kid game. So,
So I actually did get a chance to get my hands on this one at Origins. I had a meeting with Hachette while I was there, or Hachette, I am, if I'm saying this right. But it looked very interesting, and I know that they are extremely excited about this game. So it being a 1v1, there's a crowd out there that's like, well, that's not really my style. But I think there's also, there's something about this game that is going to appeal even to those that may normally not be into the battler type of games, just because there's so many different types of mechanics with all the different characters, and there's so many different things that are not in a traditional battler, like you were saying with the one character where you can't overkill or they might immediately come back. Uh, this game is huge for Hachette and Scorpion Mask. And by the way, if you're not familiar with Scorpion Mask, you probably know another game by the name of Sky Team. They're very good at two-player games, and while that one is co-op, this one is head-to-head competition. But this one looks really good. That's a good choice for your top 10.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of full of them. Good choices, that is.
He's
I'm
full of
not
something.
it.
I don't know. Oh,
I'm not
yeah,
full of it.
not
I'm
the
full
game.
of good choices here, Jerry. So with that said, really excited to get this because I think this is going to be released. It's not going to be just shown. It's going to actually be released from what I understand. So I will definitely be coming home with a copy of this one.
Here you go.
Maybe, Jerry, I don't know. Maybe they'll have it when I go to get it.
My number 5 is a game called Koi, and this is from DV Games. They are the same company that created Bonsai, which is another fantastic game. My wife, being half Japanese, we really enjoy a lot of Asian-themed games. This is actually from a Japanese designer. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name because I know I would butcher it. So we'll just leave it at that. But in Koi, it is a tile laying game. It is you basically on your turn to take one of two actions. You're either going to work or you're going to meditate. So if you meditate, you're drawing cards, you're earning coins, and working is when you use your, I guess, your sensei's abilities to make the most of your koi pond. You can see kind of the hexagonal shapes there, which is also similar to Bonsai. Bonsai was a fantastic game, and just how much I like that one, how much I like DV games, and how much my wife and I enjoy Asian themed games in general. I think this one is going to be a real hit. It's a beautiful game. It plays fairly quickly, from what I understand. And yep, I'm going to be making a beeline over to check this one out.
Have you played Tea Garden?
I have not played Tea Garden, and I hate that I'm saying that because that game seems perfect for us. Um, that is another Capstone game. We've been talking a lot about Capstone, and rightfully so. They have so many great Euro games. I love it.
So,
Uh,
so Tea Garden was like one of the first games that I backed when I first got back into the board game hobby back like 2020.
okay.
And of course, I went like all in with it because I, again, kind of being new, getting back into the hobby, the whole idea of miniatures was like a new thing to me in the board game space. So when I saw the table presence of Tea Garden and all the lanterns and all the trees and all the
Looks
different things that
fantastic.
actually made it a three-dimensional table presence, I was like, "Oh, I must own all of this, and I have no way to control or have discipline with money. Spend, buy all, buy all."
Yeah.
I haven't played any of it, but I own it, man. That's a big
Well,
fan,
man,
Jerry.
let me invite you over to my house with all these games that you've never played that you have, and we'll figure out a way to get into them.
Yeah, people always talk about, shelf of shame. I call it the shelf of opportunity.
Yes.
And I probably have about 700 games in my board game collection, and I probably have 4 to 500 on my shelf of opportunity.
Oh
They
my!
don't go bad, Jerry. Don't judge me, all right? They don't go bad.
Have you checked the expiration dates on these games? I mean, come on, man. Come on.
They age like fine wine. I'll play 'em where my kids get older.
It's interesting you mentioned fine wine, but that's a teaser for a game coming up.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So, good pick, though. All right, Jerry, my number 5 is not cute. There's no koi ponds here. There's no tranquility or meditation. No, there's just brain-busting mental headaches. Because if you've played the game Voidfall, you are in for a treat because this is the living successor to said game. This is going to be Revenant. I am not going to pretend to tell you that I know a ton about this. I just know that if you like Voidfall, you are absolutely going to love this game. It's a light 4X. It is going to be one of those games that takes you an hour and a half to set up. It's going to be one that you debate, should you even put it away? Because if you do, it may never come back out onto the table because you dread the thought of putting it all back together. But I will tell you, it is a game that, again, if it lives up to its successor, it is going to be full of very long turns, mental cramps, mind fatigue, and most importantly, sometimes delaying just to annoy your friends at the table who are complaining a little too much.
You're really selling this, Lemmy.
Now, one of my favorite games of all time is basically an accounting game of baseball with Stratomatic. So, I'm all about Excel spreadsheets. So, but no,
Who doesn't love a good Excel spreadsheet?
well, this one is a very colorful version of that. But like I said, if you are familiar, again, you're gonna be it's a 4X. You're trying to go for area control. You're trying to eliminate your opposition, your opponents. But again, it's all about control. It's all about domination. And like I said, and what I like about games like Voidfall, and subsequently what I'm excited about with this is, I feel like games like this really reward strategy more than anything else, and execution with hopefully minimal amounts of luck. Luck is great in a lot of games, but in games like this where you really want to think your turns through, just like chess, like there's the element of you want to be rewarded for thinking two, three, four turns ahead and being able to execute it because you thought of it, not losing the opportunity because you rolled
Sure.
a dice and you got a 5 instead of a 6.
Right.
And even though you had an amazing strategy, you just happened to get a bad roll of the dice. That is great for some games, but games like this, I love to be rewarded for being creative and thinking outside the box and coming up with a strategy that you hadn't thought of to come up behind you and annihilate you. And that's what Voidfall really gave me. And that's why for this game in particular, like I said, the ships look amazing, the art looks amazing. And like I said, just Mind Clash in and of themselves have had so many amazing bangers, that I think that this hopefully will just be another one in the long line for them.
Yeah. Mind Clash is a great publisher, and that really makes me happy that you said that about the not being a big luck factor involved. I was talking at Origins with another creator about a different game. I won't mention it by name, but they talked about how they played this game for like 4 or 5 hours, and at the very end of the game, it all came down to a die roll. And I just thought that would be enough to make me quit board gaming. I think if I had to experience something like that. So for this to not have that built in is fantastic, and it looks really good. All right, so my number 4 is a game called Positano, and this is named after a city in Spain. It sounds like it might have been named after a city in Italy because you just kind of want to go Positano, but it's but it is named after a beautiful city built into the mountainside on the coast of Spain. And in this game, you are uh, building buildings. That sounds like that's a redundant way of saying it, but you are building kind of resort buildings. Your ultimate goal is to have the highest quality, most beautiful, and highest leveled building, so that you can give your customers the best view of the water and of the surrounding, the lands, and have the most scenic and happy customers. During the game, you're going to be bidding, you're going to be drafting, you're going to be building those buildings, and then scoring based on making sure that you have the best view, the best quality. There is a little bit of take that in that you can build your building up in front of someone else's and potentially cut off their view and make their building less valuable. But the table presence of this one and just a lot of the mechanics that go into it just make it really both appealing to the eye and to the gamer in me. So I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. And this one is by, what do we say, Slugfest Games. So just in case you're looking for what booth to go find, Slugfest is it.
I'm always a sucker for these type of games that have table presence like this. whenever you're, especially at conventions, if you see something like this, it always gives you what's that?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's kind of the thing that when you first pointed this one out to me, that was the first thing that went through my mind. It was like, whoa, I don't remember seeing this before.
Yeah.
And for somebody who lives in a state with many lakes, I can tell you this is basically real world real estate. Yeah, somebody's owned a lake house for 75 years. Oh, sorry, you left 400 square feet in front of your house. There's now a condo in front of you. You
Right.
should have built that on the
Exactly.
water. So, yeah, so this anybody who lives near a lake knows this is real life right
Yeah.
here.
Uh-huh.
So,
Exactly.
this is the game you pull out when somebody builds that new tower in front of your lake house, and now you can't see the lake. You watch your game, and now you're furious and you don't know what to do. Well, you handle it on a battlefield. And of course, we don't condone violence, so don't do it in real life. Pull out,
But it's the only way to settle real estate disputes. I mean, come on.
especially if you're talking about Chicago like you were earlier. But no, we don't condone violence on this channel, but we will say pull out this board game. That's going to be Star Wars Battle of Hoth. So, fun fact, Jerry, I don't think I ever shared the story with you, but if you watched again our Origins video, we did, Dion and I did talk about this. So at Asmodee's booth at Origins, they did set us down. They let us play a 2v2 battle with other people. And so Dion and I got to play Sam Healy with Dice Tower, formerly Dice Tower, kind of back with Dice Tower, and then another gentleman with Dice Tower as well. And all I'm going to say is the champions won, baby. Champion's been in Dice Tower. It's all I'm gonna say.
Very nice.
Don't like pay attention to like number of viewers. Don't pay attention to subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about those things. We won the game. That's all that matters.
All that matters.
That's all that matters.
All that matters.
And so for those of you out there, if you live under a rock and you haven't heard about this game, well, you most likely heard the game of Memoir 44. It is a very simple, I would say a gateway game to tabletop miniature gaming, because it takes a lot of the thinking and strategy out that goes into things like Warhammer or Shatterpoint or Legion or, War Machine. And it makes it very simple. You're going to draw, you're going to have 3 cards in your hand. Every round, you're going to draw another card and you're going to play a card. That card's going to tell you which section of the board you can move your miniatures, and then it's going to tell you how you can attack. Period. End of sentence. But unlike Memoir 44, where you're going to play different factions within World War II, this one is going to, of course, bring the beloved Star Wars IP into this battle. And I have to say that the miniatures looked absolutely fantastic when we had a chance to play this in person. And it wasn't just the fact that we, of course, beat the Dice Tower, but it was the fact that it was so much fun, which I wasn't expecting, playing a game like this with another person, but just the mechanic of my teammate goes, their person goes, I go. It actually was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. I thought this would be way better at 1v1, but we actually had a blast at 2v2 with this game.
Yeah, so I got a chance to see this one as well at the Asmodee event at Origins, and my son is a huge fan of Memoir 44, so there's been quite a few games of that played, and this being built on that same kind of engine with a theme, I mean, who doesn't love Star Wars, right? And if you don't, then don't answer. Uh, the miniatures, the gameplay, it all looks really, really good. So yeah, I'll be checking this one out as well.
Yeah, and of course, just like any of these types of games, Days of Wonders has we'll just call this an evergreen game for them because they're forever going to be able to print expansions. Let's be honest. They're going to make so much money off of this. They're going to build terrains. They're going to build every planet that has existed in Star Wars and one of the things that we loved with it too is Dion got to be Darth Vader and to be able to have his abilities on the battlefield and using the Force. Like I said, just thematically was so amazing. So they're going to have an endless amount of expansions that are going to be able to come out for this game. So absolute home run from Days of Wonder.
So my number 3 is a game that I've actually featured over on my channel. Just a little intro to it anyway.
Would that be
And that
Tabletop Worldwide?
That would be Tabletop Worldwide on Instagram. Go follow today. So this is Nature, and it is from North Star Games. It is it's in the universe of their Evolution series of games. I think it's kind of built maybe with the same kind of underlying backbone, but this is kind of a next generation version of that franchise. I haven't actually put my hands on it, so I don't know a lot of details about it, but I'm very familiar with the Evolution series of games, and I know that you are building up an ecosystem, you are managing different animals. There is a potential take that aspect to it, where you can potentially go after your opponent's animals, but you can also avoid that if you choose to. So there are going to be tons of different animals, tons of different things that you can do. You're going to be adapting to changing environments. The art, obviously, you can see here is phenomenal. And North Star, between evolution and oceans and all of these thematic, gorgeous nature themed games, I don't think you can go wrong here. So nature will be a top game that I go looking at immediately when the doors open.
So is this Nature Jurassic? Is this going to be a part of the game, do you think?
Honestly, I haven't delved too deep into it, so I'm not exactly sure. But
Okay.
looking at it, I
Because it
I,
looks
I
like they
definitely want to dive in and get those details so I can answer those questions. I'm very
yeah, 'cause it looks like they've got like
eager to find out all that information.
yeah, it looks like they've got all these different modules of like Arctic tundra and Jurassic and
Yeah, yeah.
water.
I know one of the themes that they were pushing is the fact that you're going to be, having to adapt to a constantly changing environment. And I don't know if that's just through, changes, across the course of time, or if it's due to, you're going through different ages. I'm really not sure, but just the fact that you can't just be satisfied with playing something and okay, now that I've got it played, it's good for the rest of the game. You're gonna have to constantly be managing what you've got and adapting to the changing conditions of the game, so that you're never just able to, just sit back on your haunches and go, "I'm good to go," because you're not gonna be.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna be good because this card right here is looking me right in the face of fat tissue. Oh,
You
don't
gotta
know.
stay warm, man. You gotta stay warm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no kidding. All right, my number three is going to be from a company called Piro Loco Games, and also Devere is I think a part of this as well. And I'm a big fan of Devere games, especially for worker placement. But this game is going to be called Phoenix New Horizon. And effectively, what this is going to be is a Euro style board game that's going to have players assume control of a team of commandos tasked with the missions of recolonizing Earth. They're going to play 4 rounds. You're going to accumulate victory points by making regenerators and buildings, bolstering planet population, achieving diverse objectives. Uh, I like big, chunky Euros, as we've kind of already talked about with my list of things like Speakeasy and Revenant. And so, to be frank with you, Jerry, I haven't seen a whole lot on this game. I actually saw this on a few other people's lists of top 10 games. And because I saw it on those lists, I started looking a little bit further into it. I love games that have kind of a worker placement. I love games that have kind of that variable setup, income based. They've got contracts, and it sounds like you're going to be able to kind of do some table talking and trading potentially with this as well. But again, not one I know a ton about, but games that fit this style tend to really appeal to me quite a bit. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
I'm not real familiar with this one, but I'm already liking what I see.
Yeah. So, with that said, my number three, and like I said, one I definitely hope to get a little bit of time with, is going to be Phoenix New Horizon.
My number two, I am super excited about this game, and it's interesting because it is a board game that comes from a video game, but there is no Gwent video game. Well, I take that back. There was an
I'll
app.
say there
There
was
was an app that was not greatly done, and fans that pure fans of the original Gwent kind of dismissed that one a little bit. But Gwent was actually an in-game mini game from the Witcher video game series. And I got to tell you, I probably spent as much time playing this game as I did playing the overall story of the actual, Witcher video game, which, by the way, is my favorite RPG video game of all time. Gwent, though, is it's a two-player game. In the video game, you could play it against, other NPCs as an attempt to win some in-game currency. But in this game, which we won't promote betting in this game, but what you do on your own time's your business. But in this game is a two-player head-to-head match. You pick one of, I think, four different factions. I'm not sure if it's four.
Yeah, it starts with 4, I believe.
Okay, so you pick one of four different factions. The cards are based around the type of faction that you pick. You are laying down cards on three different levels and kind of battling it out head to head to see who will come out ahead. I spent hours and hours on this within the Witcher video game. I cannot wait to get my hands on an actual physical copy of the game. This game is true to what you got in the original video game. It is more, pure for those who did not like the app because of all the extra stuff they tried to throw in there. This is not that. This is the pure version of the game, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. Just like you, spent a lot of time with Witcher 3 and spent more of my time hunting Gwent cards than I did trying to complete the main quest.
Right.
And and I was always very blown away by the simplicity of the game. It was just so enjoyable, and that's exactly what happened in the digital card version of this. They started simple, and then, of course, they had to come up with new sets all the time. It became extremely complex, and then they started getting away from the core of the game. They took away some of the lanes and some of the manipulation of the lanes like this game has. I had a chance to play this at Gamma back in February with Hachette Games, and I mean, again, if you played and loved Gwent, it's so simple. There's a lot of strategy in terms of you only get 10 cards to play for the entire game.
That's right.
So you really have to think about how you're going to play. You got to play, you got to win best 2 or 3 rounds. So you don't really get a lot of cards, and you've got to be very strategic of when to take a knee and lose a round versus when to press to try to win a round. And so, like I said, to me, it's a small box, it's simple, and I think that this is a huge home run for them.
Yeah, and I absolutely love games that have relatively simplistic gameplay, but strategy that is through the roof, right? So what makes that so great is you can bring this to a person who may not necessarily be a board gamer or a heavy gamer, and you can sit down and play this with them, and you can teach it to them fairly quickly, but then the strategy behind it is just so deep. So very, very excited about this one. That's my number 2.
Well, as if they haven't been represented enough, Jerry, we really should be paid by Capstone for this video.
I mean,
So my number 2 that I'm gonna list on here is going to be Melt Water. Now, Jerry, I know we had talked off air, and if you go visit Tabletop Worldwide on Instagram, you'll see you actually already have a review of this one up.
do you mean this game right here?
It's almost like it's the same thing on my screen. So
So in fairness, they did send me an early review copy, so I was not, buying this off the shelf somewhere. This actually will debut at GenCon. But go ahead, start.
just humble brag. That's all right. Flex that Instagram cloud over there.
Just wanted to ensure people that they would be able to find it debuting at GenCon. That's all.
People like me, the poor people, the people who live underneath you in your tower.
Whatever. All right.
So, so Meltwater is basically the fallout from a nuclear war in almost like a battle royale situation. So this is all about area control. You're going to play the side of either the remaining U.S. or Russian soldiers, and it's all about trying to control what's left of basically this iceberg. And from what you were saying, Jerry, I know you said overall it's a very simple game to learn. He said there's only like 4 pages, so there's not a lot of complexity. And Sometimes in area control games like that, that can be a bad thing, because you can start to figure things out. It can kind of become almost too simple. My hope with it is, especially having a 12-year-old, I found that I've kind of enjoyed some of those more simplistic games that I know, like Dion on our channel, he gets really frustrated with games. Oh, it's too simple. Oh, there's not enough. There's not enough. Because again, he's a Lacerda guy. This is never gonna be a Lacerda, it's not even intended to be a Lacerda.
Right.
This is the kinda game you can throw in the backpack, go on a camping trip, and you have your little cookout, and you're like, "Hey, let's play a little board game," and you can play a game like this in 45 minutes or so. It doesn't take a lot of thought, you can be hungover on marshmallows, and then you don't have to think too much with it, and that's kind of what appealed to me, with this. I think the board presence looks really pretty. I like the art with it. I like the theme. Games like Twilight Struggle always really appealed to me. I love that whole Cold War era,
Sure.
with how close we were to literally the whole world blowing up,
Yep.
and not doing it, which was amazing. So that kind of really appealed to me when I first saw this. And like I said, I know you've got a review on your channel.
Yeah, my only question is why aren't we using the pictures from my review? I mean, you bring a guy on here and you think that no, it's
I want
fine.
to get
No,
permission
you're
from the creator.
yeah. No, you're right. It's a pretty easy to learn and play game. It does have a sort of battle royale aspect to it in that if you notice those little yellow tokens on the board, as you're playing the game, radiation is creeping into this is supposed to be Antarctica, and it is the last bastion of land that can support human life on Earth after the nightmare scenario of a nuclear war between the U.S. and Russia. So it is a Cold War game, literally cold because you're in Antarctica. And, yeah, and so you're slowly getting pushed closer and closer to each other, because radiation is creeping in everywhere, and, you're just trying to be, the last surviving team, and it's, yeah, so it's interesting. Cold War dynamics, I guess they'll never go out of style.
No, no, like a train wreck, we're always fascinated by look away. So, so Capstone Games and Melt Water.
Okay, it's time for my number one most anticipated game at Gen Con, and believe it or not,
Wait.
it's a capstone game.
Oh, I was gonna guess that. I was gonna guess that.
Now, I swear Capstone is not sponsoring this video as much as we wish they were, but they have so many quality, midweight Euro type games, and I think that is something that you and I both really enjoy as far as the type of board games that we would most eagerly pull off the shelf.
So we're
Uh,
we're gonna say maybe this isn't the year of all play, huh?
well, who knows? I think Capstone will give them a run for their money, but it's almost like comparing apples and oranges, right? Like I don't think there's very many all play games that Capstone would publish, and vice versa. There's probably not a lot of Capstone games that all play would publish. So, but this is Sunavalo. This is a two-player midweight Euro game, which is kind of unique in and of itself because typically when you've got midweight Euros, you can play two-player versions of them, but a lot of times they're better at 3 and 4. This is a two-player, head-to-head, Euro-type game. Uh, there's like a unique economic mechanism where you're purchasing cards. There are cards that your opponent can also lay out for purchase, and they can dictate, what you're gonna have to give them if you want that card that could, benefit, what you're trying to do. Um, it is, there's like a building aspect to it, so you're trying to improve your farm and your territory. There's that head-to-head aspect to it, there's the economic aspect to it, and it's just a flat out Euro game from Capstone, and that by itself is almost enough to get me to fork over the dollars anyway. Yeah, so fortunately, I met with Capstone, while at Origins, and the gentleman that I met with sat me down and pulled this game out and started showing it to me, and I was just like, just wiping the drool, off my face as I was looking at it. So, yeah, so Sunavalo from Capstone Games, my number one most anticipated, eager to get my hands on game at Gen Con.
Oh, so Jer Bear, I feel like we're close enough now. I call you Jer Bear.
I'd be surprised how many people do.
Well, I have to say, for anybody who has watched our channel at all, number one most anticipated from me should not be a surprise at all. This is a game that I knew nothing about prior to Origins. This is a game I knew absolutely nothing about when I went to Origins. This is a game I knew nothing about after day 2 of Origins. This was a game I only learned about while standing in line at the Play Library at like 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night at Origins. And this is a game I haven't stopped thinking about for the last month. And this game is none other than Huddle, the fantasy football game. If you want to see me glaze over something, just watch the Best of Origins video, and it's literally 15 minutes long. I will say this, Jerry. Never before has Champions of Tabletop been highlighted in videos of another company before for a board game. And apparently, Dylan, who owns Giggle Labs Games, who made this, was so excited by how excited Dion and I were. He actually made multiple videos of our videos to post them and highlight the game. And it wasn't paid. We did not get anything for it. We have not been paid by them. I've received nothing. But I'll tell you what, I am desperately, desperately waiting in the mail every day, like a puppy waiting for its owner to come home, hoping that the UPS man will deliver my game because they're being shipped right now. I can tell you confidently, Jerry. Are you a sports guy at all?
Very much. Very much.
So, as you know, Jerry, sports board games classically are awful on average.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Hmm.
right.
It is very hard to transition the game, sports, into a board game and make it fun. Heat, is probably one of the standouts of it. Baseball Highlights is really good. There are some that do a nice job. Lords of Baseball is another one. But Jerry, I'll tell you what, I will have a copy of this at GenCon. I would say let's get 4 other people together. We will play at the 50-yard line of the Indianapolis Colts field.
Nice.
And
I love the theme. The setting is awesome.
Yep. And this game is by far, again, my collection's 700 games. This is by far, in my opinion, the game I have had more fun playing than any board game I've ever played before. Because it fits the theme of football and, most importantly, fantasy football to a T. It's very simple. You're going to do first thing, you're going to draft the football team, Jerry. So what does that mean? Well, you're going to flip a card of a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense. Every card is going to have a number of stars that you see on these cards. Those stars represent the quality of player, 5-star being the best, 1-star being the worst. At the beginning of each draft round, you're going to flip a timer, and you get 60 seconds. You're going to take, everybody gets the same number of chips. You're going to take those chips, and you're going to bid on players. You have to bid on a player every round, just so you know.
This sounds like college recruiting.
That's it. So you've got to bid, and when 60 seconds runs out, no more bids. It stops right there. So you'll see guys sitting there waiting for time to run out before they throw a big bid to try to get a guy that they really want to get. So if, let's say there's a 5-star quarterback sitting there, you and I both want him, we don't have a quarterback yet. I put 3 chips out there, you've got 4 or 5 in your hand. I'm watching your hands to see what you're doing. I'm seeing if you're picking more chips up, because if you chuck them out there at the last second, I got to be ready to top you right away. So you do that, you draft the team round by round, and at the end of the day, you build your team. That's that. That's awesome. Then the games start. And how the games work are very simple. Every one of those stars represents a number of dice you're going to roll when you go head-to-head against another team. You do league weeks, so you pick how many weeks you're going to play. So if you and I are playing each other, the first round is going to be quarterbacks. So my quarterback here, Hank Bishop from Detroit, that's fitting for me, he is a 4-star. Let's say your quarterback is a 3-star. I'm going to roll 4 dice. You're going to roll 3 dice. We chuck them into a box. If you miss these boxes when you chuck the dice in, those dice do not count. So there's a little bit of a skill to this too. You got to keep them in the box, and it's a kind of a small box. we're going to count the dice up with our roll, and that's going to be how many points that week our quarterback scored us. We're going to do that for each subsequent position, running back, tight end, wide receiver, etc. And then at the end of it, we're going to add all of our points up to see who scored the most points. And guess what, Jerry? That's who won that week. Just like
Nice.
fantasy football, you're going to move on to the next game. You're going to play over a course of a season. And then, of course, you're going to go through playoffs to decide who your champion is. So if you like football, one of the neat things that happens with this is Dion and I called it, and Dylan, who made the game, loved it. I don't know if they adopted it into the rules, but we call it the message board system. And that's where part of the rules of the game are you must talk trash to each other. It's a requirement. So you're going to trade with other players, because there's going to be synergies. If you have two guys from the same team, then they're going to give you an extra dice roll when you play. So you want to have guys on the same team. There are going to be team cards and player cards. So you'll draw a player card, and it's going to give a certain player on your team a positive or a negative effect. Maybe they went out partying before the game and they lost. Your wide receiver just lost one dice.
Okay, I was going to ask if there was ways to improve, or do injuries come into play, or trades, all that kind.
There's also forced trades, because some of the cards that you could draw might say you made a big decision to trade your quarterback with this week's opponent. In which case, maybe I've got a 5-star and you've got a 2-star. Guess what? I just traded my 5-star for your 2-star, and I can't do anything about it. So there are variable cards that pop up. There are team cards that pop up. One team card is played per week that everybody has to adhere to. So it may be something like, hey, Detroit and Kansas City got to go to London last week to play, so they're feeling really good. So all of your Detroit and Kansas City players all get +1 dice. So there's some variables that make everything unique.
Interesting.
But the game,
So how long does it take to play like a season of this?
it just depends on how many weeks you decide to play. So
Okay,
I would say it probably takes 4 to 5 minutes per week to go through everything, because there's going to be a free agency period after each week where you're going to get extra chips. You're going to be able to flip all those cards that you see in the middle here over, and you're going to be able to bid on free agents to help boost your team over the course of the season. You got to give guys time to chat and potentially trade and make trades and stuff like that. So
So if you decide to play, let's say I want to play a full NFL 18-game season, but I don't have an hour to kill right now. Is there a way to store it and then bring it back out to finish the season later?
Oh, easily. I mean, to see these boards, you can literally put them in the box just like this. So everybody could store their boards. But most of the time, what you're going to do is, and how we've done it is, however many players plus a week. So if we're playing with 6 players, when we play 7 or 8 weeks, something like that. We didn't do a 16-game season. So most likely you're not going to do that, meaning just asking. But for those hardcore guys, might,
I mean,
the 16 weeks.
there's definitely those guys out there, right? So I'll tell you a couple of things about me and football. Number one, I would love to play this at the 50-yard line of Indianapolis Stadium, because in 2021, that is where my beloved Georgia Bulldogs won the national championship over Alabama. So I'm an alum of Georgia, so that's a especially fun place for me to be every year at GenCon, because that was our first national championship since like 1980. So that was really, really good. Number two is I'm actually the announcer for the local high school football team. So I am out there every week. Yeah, very, very deep into this. So a game like this that actually sounds really well done and sounds like something, there's been a lot of really, like you were saying, bad examples of sports games out there, but something like this sounds really, really intriguing. So yeah, I'll take a look at that for sure.
Giggle Labs, it's their first game that they've ever made. They're actually working on another board game right now that sounds really awesome for another sport. I won't spoil any of that. But so they're new guys to the space. They're not even board gamers. Like, they're just getting into the idea of board games. So that's part of the reason why Dion and I have just fallen in love with this so much, because they're great guys. They're just hard workers. They're hustling hard to try to build something. And like I said, at the end of the day, I love to see good, hardworking people succeed. And so, like I said, my love of this is just because the game is amazing and the guys are awesome who made it. So if you're going to Gen Con, I'm telling you, they're not going to have a booth. So just to be clear, you will not find them in a booth if you're looking for them. I don't know where they're going to be. I think they're going to try to be on the field as much as they can be. Hopefully they're trying to get into Gamma for next year so they can start to be in all the booths and stuff. But I would just say look around the football field for them. Try to find this game and try to play this game if you can, because you are missing out if you don't play this if you are a sports fan. And even if you're not a sports fan, if you like auction and dice rolling, this is just so much fun to play. We played a 6-player game at Origins, and 4 of the guys don't care for football at all, and they had the time of their life. Because again, it's all about trash talk and having fun with your buddies. This is a beer and pretzel game, and again, it's one that any sports fan should have in their collection, hands down, no questions, thank me later. 1 plus for me, buddy. So there we go, everybody. That's going to be our top 10 for Jerry and I. And Jerry, I just want to say, thank you so much for taking the time away from running the Tabletop Worldwide Empire down there in Georgia, taking time away from the football team and announcing to be here with us. You're an awesome guy. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I will just simply say that at the end of the day, thank you for making it this far into the video. Thank you for taking the time. And most importantly, I hope you have the Gen Con experience you're looking for. It is truly a once in a year event that everybody looks forward to. People plan their vacations around. People plan their whole calendar around this experience. And so we sincerely hope that you have the best time at Gen Con if you get to go. And if you don't get to go, like and follow our channel, because we're definitely going to have a vlog of all the adventures and things, and hopefully we'll get a chance to hang out with Jerry a little bit at Gen Con as well. So with that said, thank you for making it this far in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to us. It's helping us get on our way to 1,000 subscribers. That is our goal, and we can't do it without you, but we really appreciate and value you. So with that said, remember, champions, never stop playing. Good night, everybody.